What's up, YouTube? Silver Dragons here, and it looks like gold and silver prices are tanking today. So we're going to talk about why that's happening and what to do because of it. So let's do it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I do sincerely appreciate it. If you want to learn more about investing in precious metals, or if you just want to watch awesome videos about gold and silver, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alright, so gold and silver are getting crushed today, and usually when there's a big dip like this, I go over to Kitco Metals. They've got some awesome news reports. They just released one, so we're going to go over that first. Gold price sheds nearly $100 this week as Wall Street calls for more losses. Gold lost nearly $100 this week as prices tumbled to $1,720, hitting fresh 8-month lows. But the sell-off might not be over as Wall Street called for even lower levels next week, according to Kitco's gold survey. Next week will be all about the U.S. yields and the U.S. dollar, analysts told Kitco News, as gold accelerated its move down on technical selling pressures. Overnight, the 10-year Treasury yield rose above 1.6%, the highest level in a year. Gold's nemesis, the U.S. dollar, appears to be on the rebound, with investors taking notice of the rising Treasury yields, said SIA Wealth Management Chief Market Strategist Colin. Not going to try his last name. At the time of writing, April COMEX gold futures were traded at $1,722, down more than 3.3% on the week. A total of 13 market professionals took part in this week's Wall Street survey. 8 analysts, or 61.5%, said they were bearish on gold next week. Another 3 analysts, or 23%, said they were bullish, and the final 2, or 15.5%, said they were neutral on the precious metal. On the retail side, and I'll just make a side note here, this is more what we're looking at, right? This is the retail side of gold, so when we see the price of gold go up and down, this is what we expect to pay. 669 respondents took part in an online Main Street poll. A total of 351 voters, or 52.5%, called for gold to rise. Another 223, or 33.3%, repeating of course, predicted gold would fall, while the remaining 95 voters, or 14.2%, saw a sideways market. This week marked the lowest Main Street survey participation rate in nearly a year. In last week's survey, Wall Street called for lower gold prices, while Main Street was split between bullish and bearish sentiment. So that's pretty much the same as this week. The next big support level gold is likely to test next week is the $1,700 level, according to analysts, and a lot will depend on whether the precious metal can hold it. Rally fizzled this week near the 20-day moving average. Rising rates took a toll, but maybe some climax was reached. The next 61.8% retracement is near 1690. I suspect that is where it is headed in the medium term. I would not be surprised to see broad consolidation in the near term, said this managing director, Mark Chandler. Then we go on to next week could bring the final washout in prices, said Adrian Day, asset management CEO. Fundamentally, things are positive for gold with massive excess liquidity around the world. The dollar is only bouncing off lows. It remains lower than at the U.S. election, while rates have moved up at the long end, not the short, and remain negative in real terms. Most of all, the market needs a washout and sentiment change, Day said. One of the most bearish votes from this week's survey was VR Metals resource letter publisher Mark, who questioned whether markets could see prices go as low as $1,500 an ounce. There are too many bulls. Technicals are neutral to bearish. Is $1,500 gold ahead? And then we'll finish out the article here. It goes on to say, despite the overwhelmingly bearish gold survey, there were a few voices of optimism projecting higher gold next week. For the first time in 4 weeks, I'm calling it higher, said Saxo Bank head of commodity strategy, Ole Hansen. The reason for this is the fact that equity markets are starting to be affected by the rise in yields. The pain of rising yields has now spread to the wider market, thereby triggering a small safe haven bid to partly offset galloping real yields. Powell's resolve is likely to be tested following his horrendous misjudgment of the market this past week. The U.S. economy cannot afford higher yields, and the spike this week will increase focus on yield curve controls, an event that would send real yields and the dollar lower and gold sharply higher, Hansen said. All right, so that was the article, and if you want to read it for yourself, I will put a link down below in the description. Now, usually I don't read the entire article, but there was a lot of good information in this one. And I know the article was mostly talking about gold, but here's the thing. Wherever gold goes, silver usually follows, right? It's usually like the little brother of gold. So basically, if I'm going to sum up the article into one sentence, it would be the dollar is stronger and gold is weaker for now. And, you know, honestly, this is actually kind of a mirage, right? I mean, they raise the rates, okay? So yes, the 10-year bond rates are now 1.6% instead of 0 or whatever. What does that actually mean? Well, it basically means that they're still not even keeping up with inflation, but people see this and they're like, oh my gosh, dollar's getting stronger, time to get out of gold. But really, the dollar is not getting stronger. This is a mirage. And, you know, people, if they're moving out of gold right now, I think that's very foolish. With all of the inflation we're expected to see in years to come, you should be moving into gold, right? So what should you do when the prices go down like this? You should buy the dips. Are we going to see gold continue to go lower? Quite possibly. So one strategy you can do is to dollar cost average, not spend all your money today, right? Buy a little bit of gold now, wait a few days, buy a little bit more gold. And the same goes with silver. You know, if we see gold and silver both continue to decline for a few days or a week, eventually they will hit a bottom and then they'll bounce up. So try and buy the dips. That's what I like to do. Whenever I see red on the gold and silver prices, I'm like, okay, now's the time to buy, which is completely the opposite of what most people do. When they see the price going down, they're like, oh no, it's tanking, it's going to go super low, I should sell and get out. But that is not what you should be doing. You need to be a contrarian investor, right? So definitely buy when it's going down. Don't buy when it's going up. That's what everyone does. They see the price of gold and silver go up and they're like, oh my gosh, it's going to keep going up. So they just keep buying. But, you know, honestly, if you want to get the best deal, you try and buy when it's going down. Now, I know it's just a few bucks. It doesn't really matter in the long run. But still, even if you save a few bucks, that could be a lot more down the road. Now, one question that I get all the time is, Silver Dragons, should I be buying gold or should I be buying silver right now? And I just did a video on that. It was a Silver Pros collab with Yankee Stacking. Definitely check out that video. I'll put a link up in the corner as well as a link down below in the description. We go over basically every reason why you should be buying gold or silver. We compare and contrast the two. And there's a lot of good information in that video, not just which one you should be buying, but also why you should be buying in general. And we talk about what types are better to be buying, etc., etc. So definitely go check out that video. And I want to know your thoughts on gold and silver going down. Do you think it's simply because the dollar is getting stronger, or at least there is the perception of the dollar getting stronger, which is usually why we see gold and silver tank like they are right now? So feel free to leave a comment down below in the comment section. And lastly, I want to say a massive thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Silver Dragons out.